Alright, in this last video for this chapter, we're going to tie all of our pieces together. And the key to this chapter is going back to now solving. We've solved these quadratic equations already with the quadratic formula. We've solved them by graphing. This is the first time you're going to talk about solving them by using the algebra skills that we've learned, and it's solved by factoring. This method is called the zero product property. And the main thing that we need to know, other than all the skills that we've picked up so far this chapter with factoring, is how to solve one- and two-step equations. Equations like this. If I have x minus 3 equals 0, add 3 to both sides and I get x equals 3. Or if I have x minus 5 equals 0, I subtract 5 from both sides and I get x equals negative 5. If we can do that, along with all of our factoring skills, we can put all these pieces together, tie everything up nicely, and solve quadratics algebraically. So what the zero product property states is that if I have two things I'm multiplying and my product, my answer is 0, one of those two things has to be equal to 0. That's all we're saying. So if I'm saying I'm multiplying a times b and I know the answer is 0, well, the only way to multiply and get 0 as an answer is if one of the things I'm multiplying is 0. So the product of these factors is always equal to 0. Then one or more of those factors are equal to 0. Example. This is a binomial times a binomial. I know it's multiplication because there's no sign in between my parentheses. So I know I'm taking a times b and I'm getting 0. My property now states that one of those two things, either a is equal to 0 or b is equal to 0. So it's as simple as this. I set x plus 4, the first binomial, equal to 0, and solve. Subtract 4, x equals 0. Or I have to set my second binomial, b, equal to 0. X minus 7 equals 0. Solve. Add 7, x equals 7. So, catch my mistake here, that's a negative 4. I get x equals negative 4 or x equals 7. That's the zero product property. I want you guys to go ahead and press pause and see if you can solve the next two. You can stop for the third one if you want, and we'll talk about that. But solve these using the zero product property. So at first I'll just show what our first step is. We set our two binomials equal to 0. The second step is solve each one separately. Go ahead and pause and finish if you haven't done so. So in our first example, we should get x equals 1 or x equals negative 9. And the second example is 3 over 2 or negative 1 over 5. We need the x equals, and that would just happen to be solving a two-step equation. This last example on this page is not really any different. It looks a little different because it's not binomial times binomial. It's monomial times binomial, but it's still multiplication. Don't distribute. When I'm asking you to solve, I'm not asking you to distribute. I still have a times b equals 0. Zero product property states that either a is equal to 0, which in this case means x is 0, or b is equal to 0, which in this case means x plus 11 equals 0. I don't have to solve this. That just gives me x equals 0. I do have to solve this, so I subtract 11 from both sides, and x is negative 11. Still have two solutions. Well, what if I have three terms? It's the same thing. We don't do anything different. It just happens to be a times b times c equals 0. Zero product property now just states that either a is 0, b is 0, or c is 0. I set each one of these expressions equal to 0. And then we solve. Go ahead and finish solving this example and try this last example on this page. So for our top example, x is negative 2, or x is negative 12, or x is 7 over 2. The zero product property in our last example allows us to make this conclusion and get these three solutions. Okay, so tying all of this together, how are we going to solve quadratics? The directions are now going to state to factor and solve. When we see these directions, they're telling us to do both things, both the factoring and then the zero product property. So prior to this, it would have been an expression like this, but now we're going to have equations. They're going to be equal to 0. And our first step, I can't do zero product property here because it's not a product. It's a difference. This is all subtraction. So my step 1, and this is what we're going to spend most of our class time on, is to factor it. It's x squared, nothing in front of my x squared, so there's a coefficient of 1, so it's a box problem. What multiplies to negative 24 and adds to negative 2? Well, that's a negative 6 and a positive 4. So my factors become x minus 6 times x plus 4. That's what we've spent so much time on so far this chapter. And it's all equal to 0. Now it's the zero product property. Now it's binomial times binomial equals 0. X minus 6 is 0, or x plus 4 is 0. Therefore x is 6, or negative 4. That's where we're going to go in class and spend most of our class time.